Hi guys, would you believe that this is study number 18? I feel like by the end of this, I'm going to be able to take the first video and the last video and just show how mad my hair has got over lockdown. But thank you for tuning in again today. Today we're going to be looking at the title of Living as a Foreigner, and we're going to be in Psalm 137, verses 1 to 4. Let me begin with a question today. I wonder, where is somewhere that you would love to travel to in the world? If you could go anywhere, where would you love to go? Is there a certain culture that you'd maybe like to experience? Over the last few weeks in lockdown, Steph and I have really enjoyed a couple of different TV shows that are all about travel. One of them is called Travel Man, and in it, Richard Ayoade, who's also Moss from the IT Cloud, he takes a celebrity to a city for a 48-hour mini break. And while they're there just for 2 days, they take in the best tourist attractions, and then they try to soak in as much of that culture and local custom as possible. The other show we've loved is called Race Across the World, and it's been on BBC. In fact, I'm filming this the day after it's finished. The finale was last night. But if you've never seen it, you've never heard about it, well then let me explain what it is. And basically there are five pairs, and these five pairs are given the money that a plane ticket from one place to the other would cost. But the challenge is this: they have to take that money, and that's all they have to make that journey, but they can only go across the land. So there's lots of buses, lots of boats, and even some hitchhiking involved in traveling on the land. This challenge, well, it's a big challenge for them. They need to make their way through some pretty hostile regions. They need to eat and sleep for as cheap as possible. They need to find themselves somewhere to work along the way so that they can bolster their budget. However, in the whole journey, which lasts for usually about 50 days, they get to experience some of the most beautiful places in the world. They get to spend time with locals, learning about their history and their culture. They get to learn about local customs, and they even pick up a little bit of the different languages as well. What makes the journey so difficult for these pairs of people is the cultural differences that they experience. When people from the UK are making their way through South America, there's so much that's different, so much that's foreign to them. It is very clear to anybody looking at them that they are foreigners and strangers in those lands. Our passage for today takes us to a foreign land, and in this foreign land, God's people are now living in exile after being invaded and captured. Psalm 137, well, it picks up on this time in God's people's history. Here's what it says in verses 1 to 4. By the rivers of Babylon, we sat and wept when we remembered Zion. There on the poplars we hung our harps. For there our captors asked us for songs, our tormentors demanded songs of joy. They said, "Sing us one of the songs of Zion." How can we sing the songs of the Lord while in a foreign land? God's people, they no longer lived surrounded by those who were like them. The people they now lived amongst had very different values, different beliefs, and different practices. I wonder, does that sound familiar to you? The UK used to be described as a Christian country. However, today, well, it's more likely to be described as a secular with a mix of faiths kind of country. Our experience, in a way, is a little bit like the Jewish remnant living in Babylon. We too can sometimes feel like we're foreigners in a strange land, and that can make life difficult. Following God in today's world is often harder because we find ourselves swimming against the tide. It affects how we engage with politics, the government, and society at large. We are kind of like foreigners in our own country. As a result, well, we need to decide, just as Daniel had to, which customs and practices we can embrace and which ones we need to avoid. We shouldn't accept everything, but neither should we just complain or criticize. We should be offering an alternative. We, as God's people, we're called to sing the songs of the Lord while in a foreign land. We should be singing a different song.